At Gonzaga, a lot of students speak more than one language, but we don't always hear their stories.
So we talked with Asian and Asian American students about the languages they grew up with, how they use them now, and how speaking more than one language shapes who they are.
The clips show the literacy as identity, culture, and connection.
Hi, my name is Yohei Aoki.
Hi, my name is An.
I'm Estelle.
Hi, my name is Izzy. My Korean name is Jiyeon.
My name is Lina. My Chinese name is Zijun Zhao.
The language I can speak is English and Japanese.
I can speak 3 languages, so Japanese, Vietnamese, and English.
I speak English and Korean.
My first language is definitely Korean.
I love my first language. I think Chinese is really beautiful.
Brant talks about sponsors of literacy, or the people who teach us language and shape how we use it.
For our participants, their home language came from family, and it still feels like comfort.
Home language is where everything started. It's childhood, culture, and the earliest version of themselves.
My favorite part about Chinese is the writing part. I feel like writing Chinese is very peaceful, and I learned them probably from my families, and I feel like that is really amazing.
It feels like home. It feels like I am talking, being myself. I often feel like I have 2 personality when I speak English and Korean, and I get to go back to my original self.
Speaking Japanese to my mom is definitely like the most important part, because anytime we go out, like eat at restaurants, like I'm always the one like translating what her friends are saying, or like even just like reading the menu and like translating it to her, like what does it mean kind of thing. So just I think that's kind of like the main connection I have, is like speaking Japanese to her so that like she understands what's going on around her like a lot better.
I say my first language is Korean just because it's the household that I grew up with, and basically up until I go to school, like you're only facing your parents, and my parents only spoke Korean in the house. So basically I grew up thinking that I was living in Korea, and more than you know, you're in Arkansas. So
But coming to Gonzaga changed how often they spoke their home languages and who they felt comfortable speaking them around.
In English with an Accent, Lippy Green explains how people feel pressure to follow standard English, especially in school settings.
A lot of students felt this. Things like slang, accents, or academic vocabulary made campus feel different from home.
But they also found community in clubs, culture groups, friends, professors, people who made speaking their home language feel normal.
We do get some stares, but it is a lot more comfortable speaking my own language than outside of Gonzaga, because I think they do respect other languages.
At the beginning, I feel like I'm like a stranger. I'm looking at 100% differently here. I was scared, I was afraid, and some of the people may not know Chinese, may not know the difference between like different languages. I know Chinese is one of the hardest language to learn in the world. Sometimes I feel proud about that. I feel like language for me is a way to communicate, and also language is something come from the culture, come from the history. So that would be something that make me proud of.
In my Vietnamese club, almost everyone is international student who are from Vietnam, so I feel super comfortable speaking Vietnamese with them. I also live with my Vietnamese friends, so that's where I can basically not speak English, not have to think of like, what should I say next?
Now being a part of like Gonzaga's Japanese club, I definitely have like used it a couple times. Last year at like the Matsuri thing, there were a couple international students that I was able to like, you know, comfortably talk Japanese with, which was really nice.
I was actually talking to Dr. Kong in Korean the other week or so, and some of the students were walking by and they were like, oh, I hear a different language, and they were like looking by, and I was in Dr. Kong's room and talking. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's kind of foreign, and I think that's applicable for like any other language that's spoken on campus.
And across languages, people didn't just speak differently, they felt like different versions of themselves. Mariam says language is part of how we make meaning, and it shapes how we express ourselves.
Our participants said their personality shifts depending on the language they're speaking, whether that be through tone, humor, or confidence.
Identity isn't one thing. In multilingual lives, it changes with the language and the space.
In Korean, there's like this whole like Confucius ideal that you have to be very formal and you have to respect the elders. So with that being in the factor, I feel like I try to be more optimistic and more respectful when I speak and like set more of a boundary of like what I should and should not say. But like in English, I don't think I have that much filter.
In Korean, I'm more like calm person, but in English, I get to be like more excited. And I was learning English when I first came here, and I kind of get to imitate people around me, and that I think that kind of creates two personalities. But since the time passes and I get to familiar with English, I think I get to express myself more in English, so I feel less about like having two personalities.
So it definitely was a personality change in sophomore, freshman year. When I came here, I feel like I had to try harder. So like the try hard kind of phase that I had where I kind of raised my voice and speak really, really fast and trying to be interesting and trying to be like, oh wow, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Like that sort of way of speaking was how I was. Once that I'm like familiarized with the language and like know the people around me and feel more comfortable, I could be more authentic about who I am with the language that I speak.
A lot of people are surprised that I can like fluently speak Japanese because I don't think I talk about being Japanese too often, or I've been told that I don't really give off that I'm like super Japanese. Like I think the lifestyle I live is like pretty similar to a guy in Boulder who likes skiing and like, you know, going on runs and hiking and stuff. So
Typically when it comes to when I do have interactions and I do speak Korean, a lot of the people look at me like, oh, that's a different language. And it's very odd because a lot of the times people are like, oh, your voice changed. I'm like, I do. And I also get that I sound more like masculine when I speak English. And I was like, masculine? What do you mean? I guess like how my mannerism is, it's very like masculine in English than it is in Korean. So.
Even with all those changes, people still work hard to stay connected to the languages that matter to them.
Sammy Wu from the Asian American Research Journal writes about how language connects us to belonging. For a lot of students, keeping their home language alive is an act of care.
They did that through family calls, music, books, shows, social media, and talking with friends.
Even far from home, their languages are still part of who they are.
like I definitely learned in my early age how to speak Japanese, but then I learned English, so then like my Japanese kind of like slipped away for a little bit. And then now I'm trying to like restudy it again. The main way that I connect is just like having like my weekly calls with my mom. It's always in Japanese. I also like enjoy like reading books from Japan, but also just like watching movies from Japan and stuff. Like I really enjoy like the Ghibli movies or just even like funny like comedy movies.
I try to refresh on all of the languages. For Japanese, I would watch a bunch of anime. I would just watch anime without subtitles. For Vietnamese, I speak Vietnamese with my friends every day, but I also try to listen to Vietnamese podcasts or like watch Vietnamese show. As for English, I would say like read more books. I've been just like trying to read all of the materials from class, which I don't usually want to do, but like it's something that helps.
Yeah, sometimes after I came back for like a half year leaving China, sometimes I feel like I'm a stranger to China too. But social media really helped me to get back some of the like information about China right now, and I feel like family and friends also a big part of my life.
I feel like I try to be very connected by speaking Korean to people, or even just like reading. I feel like it's a really good practice. I want to be very intentional of like what I'm trying to do and what's the purpose of like, why am I watching this? Well, of course it's entertaining. Like K-dramas are 100% entertaining, but also like I'm trying to be connected with like what I have in my language, and I'm trying to listen.
These stories reminded us that multilingualism isn't rare here, it's everywhere.
And it's not just about speaking, it's identity, memory, and resilience.
Language connects people to home, to their communities, and to themselves.
We're grateful for the students who shared their stories,
And we hope this project shows how powerful multilingual literacy can be.
and how it deserves to be seen, heard, and valued.
America is known for being a salad bowl because it has very distinct things, and you just have to respect it in a way. Be open-minded about like learning it, or at least be respectful, and also don't be ignorant or arrogant about it.